This is a Headgum podcast.
Welcome to The Downside. My name's Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my co-host Russell Daniels.
Hi, Gianmarco.
We just got back from, we had a boys' weekend.
Ooh.
Our second
I feel like
annual.
I haven't left you.
We've spent a lot of time together.
Yeah.
We had cigarettes
We did.
outside 50 feet from the hotel as requested.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of hot tub time.
Hot tub time.
Machine?
No, unfortunately, we stayed in the present.
In the present?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
But
Machine?
hot tub time machine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God.
I tried watching that movie again recently. It's fucking
Does it
dog
hold
shit.
up?
No, it is brutal. And it is
I
like,
don't remember it.
I tried to watch it recently, I think with Tovah. It's like brutal, like, you're gay. I'm
Yeah,
gay.
of course.
But you know what we watched that I never really watched was
What?
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, we did watch that.
Pretty good.
I saw it when I was
Pretty
too
good
young.
film.
Where I saw it when I was too young, where I was like, I don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you've always gotten it. You've always gotten it. You've
I
always
don't
understood
know.
irony.
Not,
You've always
No, not really. Well, I got TCM. I got like I love broads. I would
Yeah.
sit and watch TCM by myself. But no, like the
Tell me
sort
what
of
a
like
broad is.
cinephile Cohen's world that
Yeah,
took
yeah.
a little more time for me.
what is a broad?
Broad is a dame.
Okay. Second
And a
question.
James
Just
broad.
following up on the first question.
What's a no? It's a. I
know there's nothing like 'em.
It's the only person that's really doing broad now who's like under 70 is Carrie Coon. Like when Carrie Coon starts talking in that sort of voice.
Okay, because I really
it's
like Carrie Coon. So
yeah,
what is it?
Where she's like, oh, my husband has all these DVDs and stuff like that. It's sort of there's a dialect.
That was my favorite line from this season of White Lotus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right at the
That was
end.
right in the middle
Before
of the
she
monologue.
said, I love you guys. She said,
My husband's got all these DVDs. Yeah, it's like Betty Davis broad to me.
is Liza abroad?
Hell yeah, Liza's a broad.
Elaine Stritch?
Elaine Stritch,
Okay.
number one broad. Elaine
Number
Stritch
one
is-
broad.
Elaine Stritch, I would say, is like the textbook definition of broad.
Are you abroad?
I want to be. I'm a broad in training,
Okay.
but I'm still a little too much of a bitch. I'm like a
Oh.
little like a little bitch. Because I'm
As-
like, oh, I want a
Okay.
margarita. When I go to a bar, I'm like, can I have a margarita? Can I have a
Yeah.
little like slushy? And a broad would be like, give me a martini, like the olive.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very that.
Because I want to know, because I
I
like
still have a
broads.
little basic bitch in me.
Is it just you haven't experienced
Do
enough pain?
But wait, no, but is there an age thing with it too, or no? You think you could be a young broad, and you don't have to age
I
into
think
it.
there can be young broads.
But also maybe young
certainly
bitches
on
that turn into
On
broads.
stage, I've been a broad since I was 14. On stage, I got my braces off, and instantly they gave me a cigarette and a wine glass and said, "You're a sex worker now.
Yeah.
You're an age,
yeah.
and not like a young, fresh one that the men want. Like you're the one in the corner that's going, oh, let me tell you about it."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a tough life abroad. Liza had a tough life.
yeah.
Do you have to marry a gay man at some point to be abroad? Does it help?
I'm sure it helps.
Sure.
With the pain thing as well.
Yeah. Because there's a degree of like, I've seen it all before. Mm-hmm. And it never works out, but you keep on living. I don't know.
Exactly. Wait, no, there's a young broad in my life right now. So I am working on a show with Millie Shapiro, who was Lil Diva had come off in Hereditary.
Okay.
And she was one of the original Matildas. So she's 22, but is abroad. And there's a trio of like, there's one 18-year-old kid in our show, and then the other two are 22, 23. And Millie, compared to the other two, I always forget that she's actually their age, because she's
Sure.
she's
Yeah.
like in the corner going like, oh, I've been through many texts. And the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
18-year-old is like, wow, I'm so
Yeah.
excited to be here. And Millie's already...
Can you play abroad? Do you because Russell plays a lot of big news was twinsies?
Yeah.
Is that's what you're playing a gal?
Yeah, but that's a little girl.
That's not abroad?
not
so
abroad.
it's a little bitch
Yeah.
or abroad?
A little bitch, but yeah, a little bitch. British bitch.
A British bitch.
Oh, the
Yeah.
British bitch. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
closer to abroad than an American bitch, I would think.
Yeah, but
They're both
no.
smoking cigarettes.
No, I mean, obviously Ruth is more of a broad in Titanic. But yeah, I think so. But I'm not one in real life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in your heart, I mean.
Yeah.
I just know when I saw Cabaret in high school, the movie.
Yes.
I wanted it's that mix of like I wanted to hook up with Liza Minnelli and I wanted to be her. There was something so everything about that. But everything about that.
Gianmarco, you have to know that
performance.
Gianmarco says that when he hears music, when he hears like Lady Gaga singing a pop
Lady
song,
Gaga or Liza Minnelli.
he imagines himself performing that pop song
As myself in that key though.
That completely makes sense to me.
Like he's
everything I know. Look how you're sitting right now. Gam's out. Gam's out. He's going.
But I'm not a broad.
I'm
not a broad. No, I promise we'll complain, but I love watching you sing because I saw you. It was some clip of you doing Cabaret. It's just that same thing. It's just that. But
you want to be me.
I want to be you in that moment. It is, but
when he sees a Broadway.
We're replacing you and Anissa and Ginger Twins.
Yes.
We're going in next. It's me and Gianmarco.
This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.
You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
Yeah, Gianmarco, you're sitting with two off-Broadway staples right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Really,
the
legends in
really
the community.
the prince and princess of off-Broadway.
Russell, no offense. I think I'm with two princesses to the off-Broadway.
The Mandelaverse.
Welcome to The Downside, place we complain, get negative, all that jazz. And join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. 2 bonus episodes every month and our live episode. You're also we just did a live one with our two buddies, Douglas Goodhart,
great show,
who you know, and Chris Cafaro, and we did because he had a guitar, we did what you own from Rent. We jammed out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm taking these voice lessons. I'm getting back. 2 quick things I want to read. I got one pitch email.
Pitch.
Like for a guest. Someone, I don't think they have an agent. My name is something. I am a ventriloquist who left her fiancé for her puppets.
Sold.
Help.
You've seen me on My Strange Addiction on Hulu and Paramount+. The UK Daily Mail did an article on me that went viral and then a follow-up. Let me know if you want to talk.
Yes.
And now I'm here. I made it. I'm so excited, you guys. Let's get into it.
I was like, what about your nominations? You said, no, the puppets.
No,
The puppets.
puppets.
That's what I really want to put forward. There are dozens of us.
And then the last thing I want to read is Russell didn't give me permission to share it. You gave me a movie idea, and I want to read the synopsis.
Okay.
Just so you know how we're feeling about our fans. Russell sent me this long text.
Well, you could have been less direct.
They'll put it together pretty fast.
Okay.
Movie idea, semicolon. A famous podcaster dealing with some real shit finds himself super focused on one particularly cruel YouTube comment. He becomes obsessive and starts trying to find everything he can about the guy who posted it. They eventually figure out who did it and take a road trip to spy on the guy to find out more. They accidentally blow their cover and meet him, but the guy never lets on he wrote the comment or has any idea who they are. He's seemingly an amazing human. He has real shit going on in his life and is beloved by his community. The podcaster becomes more and more obsessed and tries to keep getting closer and closer to the guy to try and figure out the truth and uncover the cruelness that he knows is in there. They soon become close friends, and for all intents and purposes, it drives him insane trying to find it, that cruel side. He finally turns a corner and has some breakthrough and just fully gives over to this guy being a good guy, and he really feels like something has shifted in him for the better. Right after this breakthrough, he goes back home and is living a new, changed life. And then the guy leaves another really mean comment on his podcast clip talking about being changed. The final scene is the commenter guy mowing his lawn, and seemingly out of nowhere, the podcast guy comes up from behind him and chokes him to death with a microphone cord. So think about that when you leave a comment on today's episode.
For a while, it was very Javert and Valjean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's something there. I think people, right? Listen, I've gotten a lot better. Well, actually, I haven't.
That was yesterday.
No, I know. I'm saying that's when I break my rule and I read. Like I used to read because it was a small enough people reading things that they were just nice people.
Right.
And now it's a little bit bigger, And
we
so,
have too many fans with too many different mental disorders to not offend one of them at some point in an episode. We'll find out which mental disorder today. We're here with Natalie Walker, BAFTA nominee.
BAFTA.
Lucille Lortell.
I'm a
What's the other one?
Oscar.
I'm Maggie Smith. I'm in my
What's the other one? There's Lucille Lortell and then something else.
Yeah, there's Lucille
Drama
Lortell
desk.
or
The
BAFTA.
BAFTAs,
Yeah.
It's me and Cillian Murphy were up in there.
How were they?
Oh, the
They were
BAFTAs?
last night.
Oh yeah, last night.
Yeah, they were so fun. Oh, it was a blast.
Who hosted?
They have sets of hosts that do a section of the show.
I'm not a fan of that concept.
Yeah, well, it sort.
I'm sure you could host if you offered your services up.
No, just the concept. It's like, to me, it's like playing it safe. I'm like, I give the
Right.
show a character.
Right.
What I thought, like Cola Scola, you'd be a great host.
Yeah, but I was a nominee.
Yeah,
But that's even better.
I'm not gonna.
It
I'm
happens.
not gonna deign to. No.
Yeah.
No. Bonnie hosted a section of it once,
Okay.
and
Oh, cool.
she said it was very fun. So the first two hosts were Alaska Thunderfuck 5000 and Leah Delaria, who is currently
Yes.
playing your role in Titanic.
Oh.
And that was a scream, but then they kept adding. Leah especially loved to be adding bits, and so it took maybe 45 minutes to get through, I would say, 3 categories.
Oh my God.
And so then it was a little like, all right. And then we had Alana Glazer and Maya Hawke.
Oh,
and
cool.
that was like funny, quirky energy, but they really stuck to the script. And then there were 2 TV people from LA who really were having trouble with the teleprompters, and one of them mispronounced LaShanz's name, which in a room of theater people, it was scary.
They said,
I was scared he was going to get drawn and quartered after the show because the
How
energy.
did he say it?
He said
LaChance.
LaChan. He said LaChan. He did the thing before where he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna botch this." But what was wild
It's like
about
a
it
very
was that
famous
she
person.
wasn't. Yeah, she's a pillar of the community. She wasn't like a nominee where it was a surprise. She was
Right.
like she was presenting the like some sort of achievement award recognizing this playwright Alice Childress. And so they knew she was going up. So if you
Just
know
practice it.
you're gonna announce someone, you have to know.
Yeah.
And Bonnie was saying that no, you should have looked it up. You knew.
Yeah.
So that was devastating,
Well,
but
can
it was
we-
fun.
What
it was
about,
fun.
I mean, when John Travolta did it was fun. We had fun with that.
I know, but it has to be so insane. You
Yeah.
have to do the
Yeah,
most.
yeah.
But maybe that's what you
insane-
need to do if you are.
There
this is
aren't-
a white guy. I'm gonna assume.
No,
No.
black guy.
Okay.
And
Wow,
but then
what an
but then he
assumption.
followed it up by
What
saying.
an
I
assumption.
assumed.
But the thing is that he followed it up by saying, "Sorry, I mean I'm from LA," and then we were like, "Boo!
No, boo, worse.
Hollywood,
Wow.
get out of here!"
You're making it worse.
Yeah.
Are they in a
absolutely.
show right now? Is that?
Yeah, they're about to do
Okay.
a play together.
They're about to.
What's the play called?
Oh, okay.
Don't know. Don't
Know.
didn't
Don't.
make me want to rush out and buy a ticket. is what I'll say. Justice for LaShawne's.
Now, I don't know if it's too fresh. Did you go in thinking you were gonna win? This is
No.
the downside.
No, not at all. I was like, well, Jujubee is the most famous person, and then Paris Nix, who was in this show with me, who did win, is someone that like I saw the first day of rehearsal and I was like, that's a fucking star. So
Yeah.
I was just excited. I was just excited to be there, genuinely, to get to hang out with everyone. It was such a pleasant surprise when we got nominations, because when something closes in December and all of the award season stuff is in May, you're like, nobody
Right.
fucking remembers. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine. So it was all just like nice to see everybody. Was so nice to be like sitting with Bonnie. Bonnie came with me. I was her date to the Lortells the year that she won for Akimbo. So that it was just like a nice full circle moment, because I've been a +1 at many things
Sure.
Yeah.
for a while.
Did
And
you-
so I was like, oh, I get to be here as like my own person.
Just because I'm trying to prepare, because I know I'm gonna lose an award someday.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I aspire.
Yeah.
Did you plot out a potential anything if you had won a speech?
I would have wanted to get off the stage immediately
Yeah.
because I just worry. I'm so clumsy that I just was racked with fear that I would trip on my way up there. So I was like,
Sure.
just don't trip on your way up there if you win. And acknowledge, because both Bonnie and my boyfriend Nico were there. And I was like, just acknowledge that the two people who are basically responsible for you not blowing your brains out are here.
Yeah.
So I would have just wanted
So
to.
you've gone
like,
since
talk
you're
to
gonna
them.
when you win that award, you're gonna go sincere.
There's only so sincere that I really get. You know,
You wouldn't cry.
I think I would cry. No, I think I would cry, but make a joke about how embarrassing and gauche it is that I am crying. That it means something to me because it's all stupid.
Sure.
It is crazy
all
that it is
dumb.
so stupid, but also like if you're like if I mean the moment it happens, you're like, wow, this is actually amazing.
Yes.
You know, like it's like so stupid, but yeah.
I hate it. I want.
Exactly.
But you'll like it if when you get it.
That's what Tovah says. I say I'm gonna turn
What
it
are you
down.
gonna do?
You're gonna turn
gonna
it
turn
down.
it
You're
down?
gonna be like
Marlon-
all the
Marlon
men
Brando?
that
You're
turn
gonna-
down the like sir.
I'm gonna be like your
Knighthood.
hero, Woody Allen. He
Yes.
did not show up.
Yes, my hero.
But I feel like the
forgot.
I feel like the Lucille Lortell awards. These awards must be less corrupt than the Oscars. No show's spending
Yeah.
millions on it.
Yeah,
I think
would say.
when those
They're
movies
spending
get
hundreds of
nominated
dollars.
on the screen, it should say how much they spent because we find out later.
yeah,
They should
yeah.
have that. They should that's who you should thank at the beginning of the speech.
I agree.
Thank you, Netflix, for the $18 million spent. They spent more. There was what movie? It was Amelia.
Amelia Perez.
No, God, Anora. Anora. They spent more on that
Who
campaign.
did? A24?
Then on
No, the
the-
other company.
Neon.
Neon. They spent more on the campaign than the movie. That's good to know. I
That
liked
is
it too.
crazy.
But
Yeah.
you got to say, Lucille Lortell.
Did you want to be a Nora? When you watched Nora,
you
were
watched
you
Nora,
thinking
were
about
you like,
yourself as a Nora?
Oh, I love
but
it.
it's that mix. It's not because I want. There's also a part of me that wants to.
She dances.
to dance with her. But then
with,
also,
with her. Oh,
Yeah.
But also
sort of
a
reprise
dance.
your Hustlers performance.
Yes.
With her.
Oh, J-Lo. She was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this mix.
That's a segment we do where we weirdly name drop someone and then we say they were nice. We don't go into any details.
Immediately. Yeah, just leave it
They
as
were nice.
cryptic as possible, Gianmarco.
I
That
met-
makes me feel
I
like you
met-
guys hooked up.
Yeah.
Like that makes me. that
Please,
makes
please
me feel
don't
like you're
spread
going-
that.
I
Don't
met
tell
Chris-
people
yeah,
that.
I met Christian Slater once. That was nice. He was nice.
That makes it seem like. Now, I think I've told you before.
Yeah.
You truly introduced me to comedy, to modern comedy. You introduced me to Mulaney. You introduced me to the concept of podcasts.
Wait, what year was this?
What year was Buzz?
2014, I think.
you
Literally
introduced-
I've known you for over a decade, Gianmarco.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's insane?
We weren't speaking for 5 of those years, but
Yeah, that's fair. But I knew you.
by the way, that's broad behavior.
I knew
broads,
that.
broads have
Exactly.
relationship with
We
a
are-
broad. They
we
go,
are two broads. I think
Okay,
together,
I like that.
I think together we are two broads.
Okay.
I think individually we're not broads, but when we get together, we're shooting the shit.
I love it. Can I make my
We've got
sideburns
lore.
pointy?
Yes, please.
So, yeah, we had. It was a dumb falling out. It wasn't a real falling out.
No.
What was it about?
The show closed, and then I went back to my restaurant job. This is my
Yeah, let's hear
my
yours
take
first.
on it.
Yeah.
And then I went back to my restaurant job and was working like all of the time there and was so depressed all of the time there. And Gianmarco had commercial money from Baby Bottle Pop. So Gianmarco was just like hanging out and would be like, why can't you hang out any of these nights? And I'm like, I'm literally in hell at the restaurant all the time. And anytime that I'm not working at the restaurant, I am trying to salvage my relationship that should have ended after college but is going on still somehow.
I think first the play that we did was an excruciating. It was 6 weeks.
Yes.
It was 6 weeks, and like, you know, sometimes I like, especially worse than if I'm confined. I like to annoy. I like to, you know, I can get annoying.
Oh, I know.
And from my recollection, we had plans once. you canceled like the day of, and I was so lonely. I was hypersensitive to a cancellation, and I think like you were cool. You knew people. I didn't know fucking anyone. So I think I was like I easily felt like, oh, you hate me.
Right.
I'm a loser.
Yeah.
And I was sad. And I probably like texted like something that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it was that. And then, but then for me, I was like, this is like a 6'4", like handsome man. Like,
if you texted me that back, I would have forgiven you immediately.
So I was just like, you can't be that hurt, but that tracks now. Because I take for granted, I went to NYU, and all of my friends were like still.
It was really
there, and I didn't
hard.
I didn't fact. I'm sorry, Gianmarco.
No, it's not. It's just like those first couple years in New York.
But at least I gave you comedy.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. I mean, we watched the Mulaney pilot on the subway ride back from Gowanus, which is where the show was.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment being like, that didn't quite click. This is not
We were so excited. We were like so jazzed. To see it, and then I was like, oh, it's.
Did you teach me to do for articulation exercises, rapping along to Mac Lethal's Alphabet Insanity?
No,
or
but
did you do
I used to do Monster. I used to do R.I.P. to all of that, but I used to do Nicki Minaj's verse.
So I wasn't the only
Monster.
annoying one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that play, it was also like it was just one of these things that you've been something where it gets worse and worse and tense and more tense and that's the part of theater that I'm so glad to be free of, because that feeling of the reviews those reviews were brutal, and our scene was so small, and it wasn't fulfilling, and it felt weird.
Yeah.
And then there was the other stuff that we learned about later. And
what
then
was the other stuff?
Then a month later, we get a call from a private detective and say the producer has run off with the money.
All of the
and I almost,
many millions of dollars.
Dude, how many thousands of dollars are we talking about here? It couldn't have been much.
No, oh my God.
In a random loft.
Did you have to? Was there just one phone call, or was there a follow up? Oh, you could have just said, "We don't have the money."
They called. No, they called. They said, like, when was the last time you've seen this producer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and then randomly I saw the producer like 2 years later at the pit, and they're like, "Hi," and I was like, "I got her
at the pit."
I did a citizen's arrest. I put her in the pit attic, and I locked the door.
She's hiding out the pit. She's at the striker. Oh,
that's the best place to hide.
Yeah.
No one's looking for you.
No one is looking for you at the pit.
But so it's tough to keep fun in that environment.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, also we had to do the hated and evil thing where we had to be like on stage before the play started. We had to be in hazmat suits cleaning.
Truly awful.
Whenever Tovah says, "Why don't you clean enough?" I said, "Sweetheart, I cleaned in those 6 weeks. I cleaned more than you can imagine. I'm cleaned out."
Just moving boxes.
There's a great
old
SNL parody of Fred Armisen doing a one-man show, and it's like a commercial, and it's like, it's literally at one point they say that thing of like, in the beginning he was the janitor, and like, but he was just cleaning a little too much, like, and it's just like sweeping. Like, anytime you walk into a show and you see those fucking actors on stage doing little business, I'm like, nope. Start again.
Yes.
Put the curtain down. Let them go away.
We were in full hazmat suits.
Yeah.
When COVID came, I was ready, but it was. The director could have done it. Hey, you put on the hazmat suit. See what this feels like.
Oh.
Yeah. No one it doesn't need to be us also.
No.
Hire someone to do this.
Yeah.
Did we have a stage manager on that show? I think
we did.
It was like.
Where was it?
The Wild West.
It was in a loft in a Gowanus, like, you've been a beautiful apartment to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, our dressing room was it
looked like a Hooverville. It was.
Oh, wow.
It was really insane. It was like little, like, blankets that were dividers between us and the audience coming in.
Oh, God.
And the heating was broken, and it was through the end of November, and we were in underwear in the show.
Oh.
We're underwear, yeah.
We were in hazmat suits and then underwear.
How many people are coming to the show every night?
Definitely wasn't like selling out.
No.
But it was never like 5.
Yeah.
It was.
There were always more people in the audience than actors.
He was a
That's
popular book writer, and then Wallace Shawn came to one. I think that was our biggest.
That was
Oh,
our
wow.
biggest get. And that my aunt and uncle were at the same performance as Wallace Shawn, and they talk about it to this day.
Wow.
It's their coolest celebrity sighting. So I'm glad that I could give that to them.
Yeah.
To see Wallace Shawn in the wild. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you told me about comedy. You told me about Comedy Bang Bang specifically. And then it was like, I saw all your comedy online.
Well, it
And
wasn't
then-
comedy.
What?
I was not doing comedy. I get very weird about it because
Why? Why do you get weird about it?
because I think actual comedian, like I like comedy so much that I like respect comedy, and when I started doing dumb little videos, it was from a place of like, I'm struggling actor and I'm just trying to like put myself out there, but then it became front facing comedy, but people weren't really doing it that much, at least on Twitter, that I had seen before. And so I was just like, oh, this is like actor bullshit.
Was the moment you decided you weren't a comedian doing the Uncle Function show? Because I don't even know how that. Because I'm like, where did
Wait,
that?
because
where
I
did
was going to
that
ask if
come
you
in
guys weren't
our-
speaking. But you brought.
We
her-
weren't not speaking.
Okay. But you had already had that like weird.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
that was
thing.
that was like right
Okay.
after the play.
Because then that was a couple
Yeah.
years later. Then I
It was a
guess.
couple
years
years
later,
later,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
But I do remember you were still on Twitter then,
Yes.
for sure.
Oh, I was
You were on Twitter the whole rehearsal.
so on Twitter. It's very embarrassing to
It's
remember.
not. I'm like that now.
I'm not. I am not. I'm very willing to talk about how annoying I was, and
No, you were killing it on Twitter. That was before I was online.
Right.
I should have seen that and said, I should have said,
I
that's
should
me in 3
say-
years.
I should stop writing bad sketches and just be on my phone more. God, what were we thinking? Wasting our time writing sketches.
Was that a bad experience? Was it just like another
being on Twitter.
No, being
Or
on Uncle. Remember that
No,
show?
it was fine.
It was fun.
I forget
It was
what
like
sketches
it
we
was
did.
exactly like the kind of shit that I was doing at the time. Like
But you
all
are a
of us were
comedian,
in that.
Natalie. That makes me so annoyed.
I just remember I would get asked. I started getting asked to do comedy shows, and I would go do a comedy show, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I do. I think
Sure.
I am a comic actor. I think I am not a comedian.
I've always thought, and again, this is how delusional I am. I've always thought, I've been thinking about like, ooh, if I get to host a thing, who would I hire as writers? And
Yeah.
I always go in my head, I want to host a theater thing someday.
Yeah.
And I would call you to be in that writer's room.
Oh, I would love to write. I don't know why I think there are like weird class. I'm like, a comedian is someone that can like go do a comedy show, like get up and talk. Like stand up is comedy to me.
Just
I don't know
it's,
why.
It's
Not.
unpaid.
Yeah.
But just in the future. Yeah,
Well,
sure.
yeah. As soon as you said theater gig, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's so funny the things
It's
that we
over.
put in our heads of like the delineations of things. Because like from an outsider perspective, who didn't know you, I was like, oh, this person who's killing it in comedy. But then didn't realize the theater thing till later on, really. That was like, oh, theater's her thing.
Right.
But I didn't know, like, you just see the person, they're doing funny things on Twitter and videos and stuff. And it's just, we just, oh, that's someone
I
in
guess it's
comedy.
for the best. It's good to, like, I'm nervous. I told you where it's like, I want to dabble in singing, but I don't want to do that. I just want to make good
But
work,
you're a
period.
much well, now we can be each other's hype man, because I'm going to tell you.
Sure.
You're a singer, Gianmarco.
That's very kind,
You
but it's...
are so good. I don't...
Listen, I'm working at it. But...
I'm so glad.
So, Laura...
You gotta do falsettos.
Listen, I'm working...
Bring it back.
Laura Benanti's doing the next theater adult. And I saw it because she's like doing a one-person show thing, and it's just that meeting in the middle thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just don't want to be... There's some people I can't say.
You say it to me.
Okay, I'll say the name. We'll bleep this name,
Okay.
and then
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
try to
yeah.
explain why I don't like it.
I know.
You do?
I feel like I know.
Oh, I don't know. Oh.
To me...
Wait, I want to know who you were thinking now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That makes me mad for him playing Seymour. But I feel like all the applause, all the everything, it's like, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
You got to the end of the song in so many words and so fast.
Yeah.
And I had to fight this urge. I was watching this person perform, and I whispered to Tovah, I didn't want to ruin the experience for her, but she hates musicals. Yeah. I said, when we get home, I have to show you. Yes. Yeah. And he was there.
I forgot we're bleeping the name, so yes.
No.
Yes.
We'll bleep that too. He was there, that show. He was behind us. And I was like, aha! But I go, there is a difference between these two things. And I recently saw a play that I paid way too much money for with a performer that did not do enough work on this play for the amount of money spent, and they did not get a nomination. And I'll tell you, that was one of the moments where I said, oh, awards are good for this sometimes. That we're not going to reward mediocrity. Mm-hmm. And that was the first, that's where I go, okay, I see the function of this a little bit more. Mm-hmm. It's a filter in the pool. It doesn't mean you can't do things, but there's only so many Broadway stages, there's only so many opportunities, and people should have more of a reservation of stepping in another art form. Yeah. And maybe Broadway goes, oh, you have a big audience, you're bringing people.
Right.
Well, it's also like, it's a fine line of like not overstepping and you have to have a self-awareness. So you're like, you don't want to like all of a sudden get as successful enough that you could just be offered something and then it's like a funny girl situation.
Wow, that's exactly what I...
Where then you were like, I overstepped.
Right.
And I maybe didn't have the self-awareness to be like, oh, actually, that's not completely right for me.
Yeah.
And actually, this is going to cause me more harm.
And I'm sure that scared some people out of doing some dumb shit.
Yeah. Well, I also think there's an element to that situation, which is like who you surround yourself with. Yes. Because I think like that friend group, like all like Ben gets a Tony like right out of when he's like 23 or whatever. Like when your barometer for what's normal in the business is like people that are getting Tonys, that are getting starring roles in movies or whatever, I think there just starts to be this thing where it's like, well, that's normal. Like if someone offers me a massive iconic role that has never been revived, like of course, I should do that. And and everyone around is like, no, that's the normal thing for you to like keep up with your friends. Yes. You're friends with these people, and so you're part of them. And
but you can't be honest with your friends and
keeping up with the Joneses.
You just, it's like, how do you reinstitute shame in a way that's healthy for the art?
Yeah.
And the problem is though,
I think there was a lot of shame there.
There was shame there for sure.
Like,
But imagine the people. I mean, if I was her, if I was any of these people who gets like that, I'd be resentful almost of my friends who did or
people
question
around
who's around me.
Like
but we talk all the time. I don't think
like,
Russell would ever say to me, hey, that's not good. I could go to him to his face and say, please. And honestly, there's a feeling of like when you say you're a singer, I'm like, don't fuck with me, please. Because I'm like,
you are a singer.
No, stop.
Liza has entered.
What was that when she was on the couch? That picture, and she's like this.
Yeah, with the
pictures
behind her. Yeah.
I gotta see. She's got the new documentary that's coming out.
Yeah, the documentary is.
Oh no!
Like it's good. It's
did she produce it?
I don't know if she did, but she's just not as forthcoming as you would like.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. Like she tries to say that nobody did drugs at Studio 54. And it's like, Liza, like I think there's
my mom did drugs at Studio 54.
I think it's like there's part of it that is because she saw what happened to her mom, and like her mom was so ingrained in the studio system and the handlers and all of that stuff. I think there's an element to her that she's like, I want to keep everything nice. I want to like present myself as
I don't think
Yeah.
documentaries.
Good.
If she was involved, whenever documentaries, the Arnold Schwarzenegger produced his documentary, I go,
no.
don't even watch it. This is propaganda.
Yeah.
I went to Graceland, which is the Elvis Museum, and his
Right.
estate handles it. There are thousands of pictures of Elvis, not one where he's fat. And I'm like, this was a segment of his life.
Significant.
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen where that was made, and I go, there's not, all these pictures are only from this age, and then he lived 20 more years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, what do you do? What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? He's dead. It doesn't ruin it. It's part of the person.
Right.
Yeah.
I
To
hate.
do hagiography is not ideal for a documentary. But even with Liza, it's like, to deny the drugs at Studio 54, I'm like, that's not even like making you look evil. Like,
No,
that's
yeah.
interesting. We want to
Yeah.
hear about it. We want to hear, like, I read the Andy Warhol diaries, and there are so many incredible stories about Liza. Like, she was fucking Baryshnikov while she was hooking up with Martin Scorsese, while she was married to the son of the actor who played the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz. Like, that lore is insane. And the last line of that, like, diary entry is like, and then she and Marty went off to have their affair on all the drugs. You loved, and it's like, you love to see beautiful people fucking on cocaine. Like, it's great. And I'm like, that's iconic Liza lore. Please
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
us more about that. Please.
I don't think
Yeah.
you can do it when the person's alive. I just don't think
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
or
if I was
for-
alive too, I'd be like, please don't.
Please don't talk
Please
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's a bummer though.
so, you did theater adult. You did my first theater adult.
Did. It was,
It was
so
such
fun.
an honor.
How many have you done? You've
joined.
done.
I've done 3 now.
Who was last?
Hannah, Joel Kim Booster.
Oh, okay, cool.
So good.
Um,
When is the Benanti one?
May this month.
Are you singing with her?
Yeah, we're
Or are
kind
you
of
too scared?
no. That's the plan. It's
You're
always this thing
brave.
where
Well, you said if Zachary Levi feels equipped to sing with her, I think I can.
well, that's part of my
step it
thought.
on
Part of
up.
my thought was like, let's get a
Zachary Levi.
duet from there and go like, let's clean the slate.
Yeah.
No, she's we've written each other on Instagram. It's just one of those things where it's I'm like, thank you for doing it, and now I have
Right.
to be like, so homework
Yeah.
for Laura
Yes.
Benanti. But she's going to Edinburgh this year.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to Edinburgh. She's working on this. I think I can, but I
Yeah.
want to come to her with
I
something.
saw that solo show that she did. It was so.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was so
Oh,
fucking
cool.
great. Yeah.
If you have any duet ideas, we were looking for duets. We're basically, we can give it away for the listeners. We're right for our next live tour. We did Suddenly Seymour. I think we're gonna do You're Nothing Without Me, City of Angels. Hard to find male duets though.
Didn't you do Lily's Eyes?
We did
Lily's Eyes.
That
Yeah.
rocks. That
Um,
rocks. And that's an off the beaten path one.
It
That's-
is. The only thing
That's
is,
good.
But it's enough.
a bit of a
it's-
bummer to
yeah.
end the show with. Like it's like it's like
To sing
it's
about
like
a-
oh cool,
a
but like
dead
it's not
wife.
like a it's not like
Yeah.
a showstopper.
Strangely quiet, and I sing it like Mandy.
Of course you do.
Yes.
I was about to
Yeah.
say.
Mandy doing the lower part, but I want Mandy Patel. That's my dream theater.
Your dream
adult.
theater. I
Wow.
see it. I see it in your future. Benanti is close.
Oh, I know.
You're getting
Oh, I know.
getting close.
Yeah, you
To
are.
the white whale.
But-
Mandy Patinkin himself.
Duets there aren't that many. There aren't as so. Here's what we're gonna do for our next one. We're doing a Chicago medley because I was saying to us, I was like, I think I could stunt cast as the lawyer someday.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and you could be Mr. Cellophane. So we're making a whole medley of Chicago, and then just
And you're
to have
gonna
something.
end with the hot honey rag, and you're gonna learn it.
We are.
We are.
We are.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I just screamed directly
That's great.
into your ears. So sorry.
But then in the middle,
So sorry to all the fans. Please don't write a mean comment. I
Oh,
don't want to. I
please,
don't want to have
please
to come
don't.
shoot you while you're mowing your
that's
lawn.
the illness, the auditory sensitivity.
Yes.
And then in the middle, just to do fan service, if I can get my chords up to shape, we're gonna do Take Me or Leave Me.
Yeah, we got to figure out how it all
it's like
works.
a weird,
It's a
and then
medley.
it builds into that randomly, and then it goes back into
Chicago.
Chicago.
What a thrill.
Yeah,
What a
we'll see how it works.
We'll see, and we don't know when that tour will be.
I
But
like that
he's
it's
gonna be
Chicago
Roxy
and
on
you're
my.
playing all the parts in Chicago.
Yes.
That-
Yes.
That's great.
There's a world where you could be Audrey to my Seymour, like in The Thing.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Russell's he's working. He's carving out the path. Can the straight guy play the path?
Play all women.
That some drag queens might have done in the past.
Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah.
I think there still is a degree. There's still a degree of no.
Yeah. No, I think I listen.
He's pushing forward.
That you're earnestly playing a woman and you're not
Yes.
playing a guy who's
Yes.
like dressing up like a woman.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
It's not.
Unfortunately,
At
it's
auditions,
not
they make
dude
him
in
do
a
a lie
dress.
detector test. They
Yeah.
say you're not laughing just because you're wearing a dress.
No,
Right.
no. Unfortunately, it's just like something I can do pretty well,
You
and
tap
it just
into.
yeah.
You tap into it really beautifully.
So we'll keep doing it. Hopefully.
So I know we talked about Stage Door for theater adults, but there's still so much to talk about.
Oh, always.
Did you do any theater camps?
No, I did. I did. The only thing I did was we didn't have camps in upstate New York, really. Like, or if they did, I didn't go to them. But every year,
I feel like upstate New York is where they all are.
I know,
feel like
but
it's
we
like
didn't.
Interlochen
It
is
wasn't
there, too.
part of the culture of like where I grew up that
Gotcha.
people were going to summer camps.
Yeah, and you're straight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But even then, it was like what we did have though was this one director in this in Johnson City, New York. He was really good, and he was they were known for their productions. They would put in the big productions, and they would sell out months in advance. And it was so he would pull the best kids from all the schools. He'd pull one or two people from each school in the area to do a 3-week intensive production of something. And so the years that I was there, they did Footloose. They did, Honk. They did
Deep cut.
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Great.
And then the last one I did was Into the Woods.
Tell me, run through your credits.
Yeah,
okay,
please.
so this is the thing. It was they would give me very small parts. So Footloose, I played the principal. And
Remember the principal.
he has one line. He's he has one line. He's like
Ren,
he's
stop
like
dancing in
Ren,
these
well, this is
halls."
I'm gonna call your it's that kind of thing. Also, I
Did
remember
you play him as a woman?
no, but I remember the biggest note is we were in the final dress rehearsal. And the director is going through the notes, and I'll never forget this because it's so funny to me that as an adult now, he was like, and Russell, I think at the end the principal can get on board. So I was imagining in the last scene of the whole town that I had made the choice in the final scene to be no. And he's like, yeah, I think he can get on board. Yeah. Just a stupid act.
You're just watching the world fall around his ear. You're what's Footloose the musical about? It's about this principal whose life falls apart.
But he sticks by his principles.
No, I fucking hate this. Anyways, so that was that. I was one of the brothers that doesn't have a song.
Awesome.
Joseph.
Awesome. Perfect.
And then Honk, I was a turkey. Again,
not even the main animal.
Doesn't really have a song. There's a couple little solo lines here and there. But then, Baker Into the Woods.
Wow.
It was
I don't think we
left.
It was
field.
and also
Wow.
still to this day, the greatest compliment I've ever received from anyone because I was so scared of this man and he was so intense. It really was. I do credit a lot of he was I've never met someone that was that scary and intense and sought their approval so much.
Well, it instills the healthy shame
Yes.
in you.
I'll never forget singing the first time I sang No More, in just a rehearsal thing, and he started crying. I never saw him cry, never saw him do, and he was like, I'm so glad we finally got a part for you. And I was like, it was the greatest thing in my life, greatest compliment. And so I did the Baker the last.
I would love to see your Baker now. You should do Baker and Baker's Wife.
What are
Baker.
You should do an Into the Woods suite.
Yeah.
You should
We could.
You should do Agony. Get Agony in there.
We
and
tried. We
do
talked
It
about
Takes
doing
Two.
Agony, and then we wimped out.
It's just not a closer.
It's
No,
hard.
But
if
not
we
a
did a
closer.
medley,
Sondheim
if we
is
did,
hard.
It's Your Fault as a full.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
could do
yeah.
him Into the Woods
I
medley.
mean, he'd be. The Wolf and Little Red. I mean, come on.
Come
You doing the witch
on.
someday? Is that?
Oh,
I
yeah.
would die. I would die to do any role in that show. I would love to
Baker's
do.
Wife, good for you too.
Yeah. I would love to be any
That's right.
and all of those women.
Yeah.
there was a while there where Heath, who Gianmarco went to theater school with.
Yes.
Heath and I had a dream that we would do a production of Into the Woods together where we were double cast as the princes and Jack and Little Red.
Yeah.
Which would be my dream. I want to be. I also, in a concert with Bonnie, Bonnie's always wanted to play the baker's wife. I forget if I said who Bonnie is at the top of this. Bonnie Milligan is one of my best friends in the world. She is a Tony Award winner for Kimberly Akimbo, has the craziest voice you've ever heard in your life, and is also the funniest woman alive, and just an incredible actor. Is about to be in an A24 movie with Julianne Moore and Paul Giamatti. I'm just plugging Bonnie.
Sure. Let's get Bonnie on the show. Jesus Christ.
No, absolutely.
You should absolutely have
truly
Bonnie on.
should.
Yeah.
She should do theater adult. She'd be
killer.
Oh
my God.
But she had always wanted to do Baker's Wife, and she was like, I want to do Moments in the Woods. And then we were like, what if I did the Prince with you? And then we just made out, and that was the first time I kissed Bonnie of many.
Oh wow.
It was great. I would love to be her Cinderella's prince and do when she does Baker's Wife.
I tried to kiss Russell at the end of Suddenly Seymour, and
we kissed.
Rejected?
We didn't kiss.
I
kissed
in my
your
mind
forehead.
we did. Oh, okay.
In your mind you did? You fantasized about it?
Yeah. No, but in my you made contact. I if you wanted to kiss my lips, you didn't aim for my lips.
Gianmarco just started biting his lip. Like that's not even a joke for people that are just listening. Literally, you started talking about kissing, and Gianmarco is giving you the full-fledged I fuck lip bite.
Something I think about a lot, and I wish I had seen, is you and Larry Owens did Cabaret.
Yes.
And especially with all the Cabaret revivals that happen.
Yes.
What was that like? Like in terms of like getting to do that with I just think about that.
It was so crazy and serendipitous because we didn't get asked to do it together. Larry was already doing it, and then I had done a random concert with the music director, I want to say, and I just got called in for it, not knowing
that he
who was in it. And then they said after my audition, they were like, oh, we want you to do it. And do you know Larry Owens? And I was like, do I know Larry Owens? I've known him since we were 15. And so then it was just like the most fun. It felt like grown up stage door because that's where I met Larry, was at camp. And so it felt like a very full circle thing. And it was just a joy. It was truly the most fun, even though it was in a random theater in Long Island City, and we did it for absolute pennies. But it was, oh my God, it was so fun. And Larry was incredible. Yeah. It was psycho stuff. I don't care much would like bring down the house.
Yeah.
But in an appropriate way.
It
wasn't like just vocalism for the sake of it.
No, for sure.
It was great.
When you look back on your theater days, did you have any mean teachers that you look back and you go, they were still good though? I have a lot of mix of like, I loved my mean teachers. They were a big part of my life. But as a guy, I think I got the better end of that stick for sure. They were always worse to women.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And my theory was always,
there's more of them.
I've always said there's certainly more talented women in these things than guys, whatever that is.
Right.
Whatever that is,
and
I think it's 100%
mean teachers,
true.
Men or women, largely?
They were, I think it was the women, mostly women, were they were the teachers. And then I feel like I knew people who studied with Sandy Meisner, and like he's a gay guy, and he was also meaner to women. Yeah. I mean, I just have seen a lot of very talented women in general in those classes back in those days. Yeah. And it was tough. If a guy got one little tear, a little bit of a wet left eye.
Oh, Brando's back, baby.
Yeah.
But do you look back? And I have teachers that I think this was not good, and I was trapped thinking you had all the answers, and I'm so studious. That's why I think I'm so virulently anti following any one person's advice, because I got the short. There's only really one teacher that was mean to me in a way that I didn't end up appreciating. But what did happen was I had a lot of teachers
I was in the Adler studio at NYU,
Right.
Which is like very like serious. We're in all black. We're writhing around on the ground being animals.
Stella
whatnot.
was a dame.
Absolute Damon Broad. Absolute Damon Broad. So I had an experience where I got there and they could smell the musical theater on me. Ooh. And they were like, we got to break this girl, because like the musical theater, the habits you develop if you're a teen doing musical theater are not actual acting often. And part of the reason I wanted to go to Adler was I knew enough people from Stage Door who were a couple years older than me, who I would see go to musical theater programs, and I would go, oh, you're the exact same performer you were in high school. And that sucks.
And that was Cap 21 at the time, right?
Yeah, but also like all of the school, like Stage Door, like people went off to Michigan, to CCM, stuff like that. And I think you make of whatever program, like you're going to make what you make of it. But I think a lot of those programs are more about teaching you to sing alphabet healthily, at least at that time, and less about doing real like character and text work or whatever. The Michigan Mafia is gonna fucking kill me. I'm just kidding, go blue. But I got to Adler, they could smell musical theater on me, and they were like, if this girl is going to be anything, then we have to break her to see if she's strong enough to get through. And the fact that I did not leave, I had like a miserable time freshman year, because every time I worked, they would be like, you are fake, you're indicating, this is all trash.
Isn't Stella Adler though? I never liked Stella Adler because I love the romance of Lee Strasberg and Feeling, and I felt like Stella was more what's the gesture, your whatever it was. I always saw that as like antithetical to what I wanted acting to be,
right?
But so I would think that they would be more presentational.
They like big and like stakes and commitment for sure. But mostly it's about imagination with Stella. She just wanted you to like not use your own personal experiences. Yeah. Like the sense memory stuff is where she and Lee like really split off. Yeah. Because she was like, that's just not a healthy way to act. Yeah. Especially because she was more stage. I think
Dorva.
The ghost of Strasbourg.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, bitch, hey. Heard you're talking shit." But B, she would be like, "You can't use your personal experiences to play Hamlet. Hamlet has things that like you have to imagine." Let me tell you something.
Even now, I hear it, I go, "Fuck off! Hamlet is just a guy. The president's just a guy. The king is just a guy. He's not some special thing."
Well, you've got jester's privilege.
What's jester's privilege? What's justice privilege? I haven't heard of this concept.
You can make fun of the king. You can say whatever you want.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy to be or not to be. He can't make up his mind. Ooh, what a god this is. But I
also don't idle. I am with you on I take what is valuable to me. That is what I have learned. All of the years after college were about like unlearning a lot of that stuff. Because then I did an intensive with Fiasco Theater Company.
I'm gonna fucking.
They're ringing all the bells.
They're ringing it all. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking
kill someone. Yeah. And one of the teachers in that program had taught at Adler for a bit and left because he hated the vibe there so much. And so being like, oh, that wasn't all of the correct answers that were. There are people that are grown-ups that are working in the industry that don't respond to that stuff. And so, so now I'm much better able to be like, okay, I think that's stupid. Because then you'll have a director that's like, what if you tried it like this? And I'm like, that sucks. And I am not going to do that.
It feels like you have to like translate sometimes, like based on what they're saying. Like, oh, okay.
But it can be good. Like when I look at acting training, I'm like, sometimes it's good to go all the way down a rabbit hole and like see what you can pull.
Yeah.
But man, I really wanted to get into like sense memory stuff, and I don't think my brain clicked with it. So it would just feel like failing every single time. I couldn't get there.
Oh, okay. So you weren't like having a breakdown. You were upset that you weren't having a breakdown. I could
once in a while it would break through, but like who knows? Being a guy, being ADHD, and not being able to focus on an imaginary circumstance long enough. and it would. But then once in a while I'd break down and I'd feel like I was the greatest actor in the world. But it wasn't consistent. I'd be with people who could do that shit.
Yeah.
Some of whom mentally unwell.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know it's not. I know people don't like saying that you got to be a little mentally unwell to be a good actor. I know that's not in fashion. But I got to tell you, I believe being a little bit
Crazy.
to use the term. I would never say that.
I would.
On the spectrum of crazy is useful.
Yeah.
Is connected. It's just there.
Yeah.
You could tap in. Sometimes people who can tap into kind of wild different things quickly. It's helpful, you know?
But I remember doing Elise Strasberg. I went to Circle in the Square for summer camp, and it was like this old teacher who would fall asleep in class.
Yeah.
Had holes in her shoes. And
That's
it was
evocative.
That's a broad.
I love that image.
You know, you go up, you just stand. And so much of this is like you just respect someone so much that if they talk to you and you're on stage, you just start crying and you're like, well, I can't recreate this just willy-nilly. That was Larry Moss. Larry Moss was like, but you stood, relaxed, and then she'd ask you questions like about your family and all these things. And I was studious, and also I had no shame talking about my family. The same I do now with comedy. I'll say it all.
Yeah.
But I did. So she was like, your family? No, my dad sucks. My mom this, divorced this, that, other. And she was like, not great. And I was like, oh, what? And then, you know, some kid who was still in the closet from Oklahoma, he'd go up there to start talking. He couldn't even say it and start crying. And I was like, well, he didn't even say he was gay. How does this say that's not good? But that's what they wanted. They wanted you to somehow they wanted in the revealing. But for me, there was no shame in the revealing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating though. I was just trying to be good, and that's not good.
No, yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, Stella Adler would have been better for me. I go back.
Yeah. We had one semester where the regular scene study teacher went on sabbatical or something, and we had this replacement teacher who basically told us the first day she didn't believe in any of Stella's methods.
That.
And so all we did that entire semester in that scene study class was everyone would have to get up and do a private moment as themselves. We had done private moments in class as the characters and be like, oh, I'm playing an older person, so I'm fucking gray
tell the
hairs
listener
or whatever.
for what private moment.
Oh yes, in pyramid scheme acting schools, they love to be like, what does your character do when they're alone? And so freshman year especially, they were like, you bring in your private moment that your character does when no one's watching and outside of the text of the show. And then Deborah, our sub, just wanted us to do private moments as ourselves, and she would yell at you if she felt like you were performing in any way. But what it just ended up being was everyone got naked and everyone started crying while she was berating them for not being real enough.
Did you get naked?
I did.
You did?
I did, ultimately. I wasn't planning on it, and then she kept saying that I wasn't revealing enough, and so then I absolutely got naked. But it was unsafe.
What was the
and
private
I'm very
moment?
shocked. I started by just singing and taking off makeup, I think, because that was at a time where I didn't sing at all in college, because especially when they could smell musical on me.
Yeah.
I was just no, I'm not. I'm denying that part of myself. But I would find myself on occasion in the privacy of my dorm room. I would sing to myself and be like, I miss musical theater. Maybe I'm not Nina and the Seagull.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she just kept yelling at me about the fact that singing is inherently performative and not private. And so then I just started basically giving myself a panic attack. But yeah, it was not great. It was very unsafe. There was one girl that literally revealed her trigger warning eating disorder. She ate ice cream and then threw it up.
No way.
As
In the
her
class?
private moment. As her private moment.
Oh
and
my God.
Can I tell you
Deborah
a toxic,
loved it. Deborah
Can I tell you a
loved
toxic
that.
thing that I have in my heart? is because I like performance art. Because I'm not saying that's sustainable. I'm not saying everyone should be doing that. I'm not saying we should be encouraging teenagers to be doing that. But there's something to me that if I saw a movie and they actually throw up and the actor decided to do that, I go,
Yeah,
wow.
but it's different when the context is.
I got to see that. What a
Listen,
gift.
it's different if the context
I gotta
is.
say.
You're a psychopath.
Grinning.
Listen,
There's something about it that I think is
no,
so.
the commenter
Listen.
is coming. The
Listen,
commenters
will you just
are
listen?
en route.
if that person was doing that and they decided that was a character, like they were
Right.
portraying a character thing and they did that and like that's something you maybe didn't even know about the character, but that's their
Yeah.
interpretation. I think I can get. But if it's an exercise where you're like, this is me. That's a little like
What if I did? What if I had an eating disorder and me at this age?
If it was your idea
and
for
I
a one-man
decided to
show,
do this as a thing.
If it was your idea for a one-man show, blah, 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 but as an acting
it's-
exercise in a class.
Where you're feeling pressured
Where
to
you're feeling
reveal
pressured to
something,
reveal
like,
something.
sick and scary about
if it's
Sure.
your own show you're putting up, of course, be you.
Sure.
Be your authentic you.
I think there's a lot of acting classes should be 18 or older, and then the class can change.
Yeah.
If we go by that standard. But there's something.
But you're in a situation, if you're a teacher, you feel pressure to like,
For sure.
especially in acting school.
For sure. I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a part of me that goes.
That wants to
I want to
watch
see
it.
that girl throw
I
up.
want to see this 19-year-old.
Oh, 19. Then we're in the clear.
We were.
What?
If no, there again.
No, this wasn't at stage door. Did you think I was talking about like stage door age?
No, I forget college.
Like a
I see college.
13-year-old.
I see college kids as
Well,
as
they do look
babies.
12 now.
Yeah.
But per the point of the singing, when I hear that story, I imagine myself doing the throwing up. And when I did,
Gianmarco, you can throw up if you want to throw up.
Yeah, you can be.
But what is sobbing?
he
What
wants
is sobbing with throwing up from the eyes?
He wants to be a 19-year-old girl throwing up. He sees himself as her. Is the big thing. He goes, "That's iconic."
I just remember
Iconic behavior.
when I did the My Left Foot. I did an acting class. It was the cult.
Yeah.
I was in the acting cult. We inhabited a real person for a week. I did Christy Brown for My Left Foot. I had a wheelchair. I did the whole thing. And I went out in public in this chair. I've spoken about this before. I did it. I was not a comedian. I did it very seriously.
Yeah.
And I just remember doing the Meisner exercise where I was writing a letter to my wife who was leaving me writing with my left foot, and I couldn't get the marker into my toe, and I just started bawling in this thing, and it just felt like I did something. It felt like I do enjoy sometimes this with movies. You can't do it for theater because you die, but the sacrifice, I sometimes think there is something that is performance art about Daniel Day-Lewis sacrificing his body for a role, Christian Bale sacrificing his body. When you see, Natalie Palamides,
Yeah.
there's something about like she is putting herself through the fucking ringer, and I'm sure she's got bruises and it's just and there's something about it that's like you are putting yourself through hell.
Yeah.
For this audience.
Yes.
And when I look at the kind of smooth greasiness of Broadway, especially today, I go, man, I'd love to, Audra McDonald, ultimately she's given something up there.
Yes. No,
And-
this
and-
actually, this I very much am with you on. I think about this all the time. I was just talking about it the other day because people get trained now to sing the way scores are written now, which is like women are melting their tits off, and it's unsafe unless you sing it in like the most
Boring way.
boring way possible.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like so healthy and so negotiated, and there's no room for cost or anything. And so it becomes like there was an Evita a while ago where people were like freaking out about it and were like, she could sing it. Like it sounded like it was so easy for her that she could sing like 3 more shows of it, and I'm like, I don't want that. I
Yeah.
want cost. I want it to cost something
Yeah.
for you to play this part, or else why am I watching you on stage?
Yeah.
Especially with something like Evita, I'm like, you need to be like, do I want you to get nodes? Do I want to hear your nodes on set? No.
Sure.
But I want it to feel like you're
go
like
off the rails.
scraping and clawing
Yeah.
your way up.
But that's why
I want cost.
but that's
I want
but
it raw.
who do we blame? The composers, the audience, the
Right.
8 shows a week. I mean,
Right.
it's I like the Elaine Stritch. I listen to all these. I've been trying to get back into musical theater. It's hard because all I want to listen to is the things that I know.
Yes.
It's really hard. And I listened recently. I've sometimes listened to the revival of a thing, and I have never liked the revival more than the original. Always. And it's got character, and it's crunchy, and it's flat, and it, parts. And I don't know how you go back to that, but yeah, I like that sacrifice. I believe that if at the end of Gypsy, Audrey McDonald had thrown up, I would have stood up and applauded.
You didn't give her a standing O?
The Mama
I said
the Mama Rose bulimia reveal.
8 shows a week.
Mom.
Gianmarco.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Mom.
Gypsy.
Mom.
Oh my God.
Just get like that SNL tube that goes up the wrist.
Yeah.
Just like spraying.
Oh man.
You should recreate that My Left Foot moment for yourself, if only to put it on OnlyFans.
Sure,
There's
that's
someone that
gonna
would
do
really
it.
love that.
No, I just
Feet.
I don't know. There's something about a little sacrifice.
No, there is something with modern stuff. It's more rare now to be like, oh, that thing in a musical.
I saw this
where you're
video.
like-
There's a woman. She was playing Alpha Bar. Used to play, and she was putting her warm up on TikTok like the day. And I said, "This looks like a fucking nightmare." All I've ever wanted was to be a woman singing on Broadway, and this is not worth the cost.
Those women should not be singing that show 8 times a week. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I watch those same videos, and I'm like, God bless and keep all those alpha
How's your
buzz.
neuroses? Because it's got to be. I mean. By the way, when I was singing, and I have mild OCD. I have something, and man, when I'm singing, I mean, I would do. My poor girlfriend at the time, I would constantly.
Yeah.
Like a
that?
psychopath. It was just like, is it there?
Testing.
Is everything
Yeah.
kind of? And I mean, crazy.
Yes.
How you doing?
Better now that I definitely was like hyper neurotic during Big Gay Jamboree in the fall. Because that was the first time I was doing a show eight times a week. Because even I had understudied in a couple productions, and that's so like you're shot out of a cannon and you do it one time. And so even if I had been sick, adrenaline would have carried me through. And then the Cabaret production, because it was like off Broadway, we only did it we did like 5 shows a week.
Yeah.
So going to the 8 show a week thing, especially early on, I was like so freaked out, and I was constantly waking up every day doing that exact and just freaking myself out all the time. But it's a little better now.
Did it
but
help?
what was crazy
It
during
should be
Big
noted
Gay is
Natalie canceled the last podcast appearance because her voice.
Oh,
you were
'cause I-
nervous about your
yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Well, I also got every virus known to man
Sure.
this past winter, and so then whenever I felt anything early on with this process, I was like, I'm inventing new strains of things at this point. I'm
Yeah.
Typhoid Mary. But also with Big Gay, we went into the Orpheum, which is not a theater that is designed to hold as many people as our show had. And so they were constantly doing construction on it. And it's just like an old theater with like mold spores
good.
in the
I'm
walls.
looking
And
forward
so
to it.
I got, right. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But that's not a musical. So
No,
you can get
no,
it.
I
You
can-
can get a yeast infection
Yeah.
in your throat
Yeah.
as I did,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine. But
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was possible.
A yeast infection. You
Yeah,
really got
during
that.
during tech for Big Gay Jamboree, I got a yeast infection in my throat.
Oh.
I was so worried, and I went to an ENT, and she was like, "Yeah, is the theater like moldy or anything, or is it like damp?" And I was like, "Well, they're working in there all the time." Full yeast infection in my throat. Me and Dave Matthews had to cancel. I found out because of this. Dave Matthews had to cancel like a leg of a tour in the early aughts because he had a
They
yeast
better clean at that
infection in
fucking
his
theater. That makes
throat.
me so goddamn mad.
That's
I've done some
crazy.
comedy clubs in
Yeah.
bad
It's
spaces
those
where I'm in the
stomp
green room and I'm
guys.
like, something changed about my whole body
Yes.
in the 10 minutes I've been in this green
Yeah.
room.
Yes.
Let's go to our next segment. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. This is where we talk about something big, small, personal, public, anything that's got to come to a stop. Russell, do you have a
No, go first.
Stop?
Go first.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is very small today. The hot yoga classes. Sometimes at the end they bring out a cool towel. Sometimes they bring that towel out, and we're not at the end yet. So that towel is just getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And then when I finally put it on my hot body, it is just as hot. That's what's the point? Just wait a little longer. Wait till I'm in Shavasana, please. You hear that? You got this? Got to stop?
Yeah, this got to stop. You would think a lot of, if you own a comedy theater, you run a comedy theater, you would be someone who enjoys having a laugh, having a good time. It's been shocking to me getting to go on the road with you. And I'm not talking about Vermont. They were great. We were at a brewery. It wasn't a comedy theater. Yeah. But in general, I'm going to keep it general. I've gotten to go to more theaters and more and experience more managers and comedy theater owners and things. Sometimes you get someone and they're so miserable and so thrown off by the smallest thing. And anyways, we had an experience recently, and it's just shocking to me, the people running some of these spaces, just how miserable and downtrodden.
And sometimes they were cool spaces, and then maybe a bigger company buys them and imposes their kind of rules onto the cool space, and now it's kind of a weird corporate space.
And you buy some balloons, and it's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
There's no floss in the thing that the floss used to be in. The fridge is empty. Well, then get rid of the fridge. Don't give me a wrapped present. I open it, it's empty.
Fridge that says drinks. Fridge that says drinks. Oh, in a fun way. We're not saying drinks. We're saying drinks. You open that fridge bare.
Maybe the joke is they all were drank.
Yeah. And we had some balloons, and it was the fucking end of the world. Anyways.
Listen, it's not easy to work in a comedy theater.
No.
It's not easy.
Anyways.
But that's the job you're doing.
It was crazy.
Is this?
Yeah, we'll bleep it out, but yeah.
Yeah. I just remember
we spelled it out.
Yeah.
The first time I went back there, I didn't realize they had changed, and I was like, "Why are my tickets on Live Nation? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
this is deranged."
Yeah,
we did our downside show in Philly, and someone complained about the price. I was like, "What?" And there was a $7 surcharge per ticket, and I called my agents. I said, "Can we do anything about this?" They said, "No."
Yeah,
it's just what it is, and they're buying up everything.
We were at one place, and it was a great venue. One of my favorite shows on the tour, and beautiful space, great crowd, but the manager was just so weird to us, and so short and blah blah blah. At the end, we're on our way out, and she goes, and we'll contact your people about the cut we get from your merch. And you're like, that wasn't part of the deal. Like,
the cut from the merch. Cut from the merch.
It just was so pathetic to also be rude to us the entire time, and then be like, and I'm going to rob you at the end. And I'm going to rob you a little bit, just in an annoying way.
Yeah.
It just was like, what? Anyways, so it's you should have more fun if you're running a comedy place.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I agree.
Yeah.
Diva, this got to stop.
There's a knock at the door.
There's a knock?
I thought I heard a knock at the door.
Hello?
Oh.
This has got to stop.
He's the manager. He's the manager of the Bell House.
Hey, sorry to bother you. I just got back from a trip and my keys aren't in my bag.
Oh,
so
sure.
I'm calling a locksmith, but I have to bring my laundry because I'm flying to Wales tomorrow. So can I buzz you to get back in after I drop off my laundry in an hour and a half?
To buzz you to get back in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'll say Steve in the thing. You know you won't play.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Okay.
We should have asked him if he had anything that he wanted to
Stop. Yeah, we should have had Steve,
come
Steve
back.
the neighbor.
Steve, come back. Gianmarco, do you want to tell us about what just happened?
Well, if he had a friendlier demeanor, I think I would have invited him onto the show, but he looked like he was not in a great place.
Well, he's not.
Well,
he locked his
lost
keys out. He's
keys.
dealing with real
locked
things.
out.
He's dealing with real
out
things.
while he's trying to do laundry. Come on.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I guess I'm buzzing him in now. This is now the podcast studio / buzzing whoever wants to be in.
Well, he's gonna
you
interrupt
you
2
can
episodes.
do Franklin Shepherd Inc. You're gonna be doing Franklin Shepherd Inc. Buzz.
I get nervous because
mutter. Yes, Jerome.
I should play
Frank.
but I want to.
You look like a Frank, but you are a Charlie in your heart. Isn't that so sad? Being neurotic and conventionally handsome.
Which show? This is no, Merrily.
Could you do that role? Would you do that role, that woman?
Mary? Yeah,
Yeah.
I would any Sondheim show I basically would play any role
Yeah.
in there.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, I meant to say, what's so funny is you got me in a comedy, and now I go to you for like my musical theater questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, where can I get some new? Is there a recording of William Finn's Little Mary Sunshine? And you're like, hey, so he's dead now. I was like, oh fuck, what? He died. He died 2 days after I asked Natalie. Like, wait,
Yeah.
where can I
Yeah.
listen to
William
some new
Finn
William?
stuff.
Any new stuff coming out from my
He's
boy
like-
William Finn?
He's like, I would rather die than have Gianmarco get his hands on my
that
material.
made me. I shed a tear.
He sensed that you were getting ideas about doing his work. He said he
He's like,
wants.
I'm
he's
off-
taking.
I'm off
he's
this
taking
plane.
voice lessons.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm out. I'm freaking out of here.
That really made me. Because it was like, you leave a thing, and then you dream maybe someday you come back, and then Sondheim died. I'm like, oh, I wanted to
Meet him
say,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guess
oh
what?
man.
I shouldn't talk about any of this. My uncle fucked Sondheim, apparently. Yeah.
Should we bleep that out?
I think we've talked about it before.
Uncle
Have we?
Function. Uncle.
Uncle Fun Sondheim.
Yeah. My uncle fucked Sondheim.
But I mean, I think that's
rocked.
probably
well,
a long
apparently
list.
he had like a sex dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
exactly
what
what
I
he
always
told me
hear.
about. And my dad was at the table because I was ready. I was like, "Tell me what positions." And like it was the Thanksgiving dinner, and I could tell my dad was like,
Shut up.
"I've given you a lot of room to be gay, son. This is a step too far." Because I was ready to be like, "Is the shit on the glass table thing true?"
God. Go ahead, watch your mouth. Oh my God.
Oh boy, dude, this
Anyways.
got to stop.
Yes, I feel so bad. It's a theater. We've been talking about theater the whole
That's
time,
okay.
and so I'm sorry
That's great.
to any Debbie Downsiders.
They stopped
who-
listening.
They
About
stopped
40
listening.
minutes.
They,
Yeah,
they know every 3 to 4 episodes.
So
this
it's in the
is what
comments.
they're
The
gonna
rudest
get.
thing they'll do. Episode ends at blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
that's where they no longer want
Yeah.
us.
So mine is this has got to stop. Directors telling you to read the lyrics like they're regular lines at a read through. Don't make me do
It's
that.
so crazy.
Don't make me do that. It's a humiliating experience for everyone. I'm embarrassed watching other people do it. Please don't. I am learning nothing from this. Please just say and then song and
Yeah.
skip to the end of the fucking song. I don't. In that production of Cabaret that Larry and I did, we had to read the lyrics. And to sit there and go, maybe this time I'll be lucky.
Oh my God.
Maybe this time I'll stay. No, don't make me do this.
At least you were dealing with a famous show with good lyrics. I had to do it recently in a new work piece, and boy, oh boy, it was like it gets shocking. You're a minute into it. You're like, are we gonna keep this going? You're hearing your own
You're
lyrics.
not gonna
We
save
must
me?
stop this.
Please.
We must stop.
Do you think that whole exercise, even in school, is a useless exercise?
I kind of do.
For
At
young
least having-
people, maybe they
Yeah,
can
at
get something
least,
about
or
it.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or give it as homework. Be like, go home and say it to yourself. But also, like, because ultimately, what you're asking is to find what the thought is within lyrics, as opposed to just like learning it rhythmically, like figuring out what the character is actually saying. But have them do that in the privacy of their own home, to do it in front of a group of people and to do it as a grown woman. I have acid reflux. I could rent a car for many years over if I could drive. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do theater games. I don't want to do theater games.
We had to do
Games.
some theater games for Buzz.
Absolutely.
We had to do some, and I was
Directors love to be doing theater games.
Theater games.
And then they go, oh, we're in tech and we haven't gotten anything done. And it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have spent so much time doing big booty.
Oh my
Maybe a
God.
little less zip, zap, zop. All right.
Really is
Maybe
shocking.
a little less, like, pass the energy.
Well, because sometimes when it's happening, you're looking around at the other actors like, are we gonna are we gonna stop this? Like,
Yeah.
who's with me? Like,
we do
like,
music?
Someone
like,
goes zip to nowhere.
and I get mad at the other actors who are like, yeah, like, and you're like, no. Like, we need to at we need to like kind of be begrudging about this and be like,
Yes.
okay, because I mean they need to sense that this is a dumb thing.
Yes.
They're wasting our time.
And waste everyone's time.
Yeah.
And then it's always like during tech where it's like, oh, like
we didn't have time.
we're running out of time.
Yeah.
You go, enough of it all.
Yeah.
Great. Let's go into our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. Quick reminder, join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. Aside from the 2 bonus episodes, you get to see basically this live episode that we did in Burlington, Vermont. It was a special one. It was with our 2 buds. And it's really special. I think it's going to come out in probably June. But you get 1 a month. So it's a good time. My blessing, just to keep it theatery. A story, a lesson I always remember from summer camp. Patrick Wilson came to Broadway Theater Project to do a masterclass. And he played Freddie in My Fair Lady, I think in the Broadway revival. And I was singing On the Street Where You Live every chance I could get. And at school, we talked about objective. It was always about what's your objective, what's your obstacle. And I was like, what is the objective? He's not singing to her. And what is it? What is it? How do I lock in? And I went to him, I said, what objective did you play when you did that song? And he said, well, I read about the production actually, and they wrote that song because they needed to do a set change. So my objective was to distract the audience from the set change. And I remember at the time being like, oh. And now I'm like, that's your job.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful too.
Yeah.
So thank you, Patrick Wilson. That was one of those master classes. A lot of useless bullshit, a lot of over complimenting, and he gave me a cynical but true answer, and I still think about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes your motivation is to move across the stage. Sometimes your motivation is you have to take off this costume piece.
Yes.
And you do it. It's a job.
Even Lee Strasberg said, he's like, if trying thinking about your past, if you can't, try thinking about the circumstances, and then if you can't, just pull a nose hair.
Oh God.
And I wish that made me cry. God.
Yeah. My blessing. Okay, so update on my dog Ziggy, who famously has lost his ability to walk in his back legs. Had a big surgery. It did not solve that, and it seemingly is not going to. So my blessing today is he's doing as great as he could be. He loves going outside in his sling and blah blah blah, and he has a lot of energy, and he's adapted great to it. Do we
have the footage? We have the video of him, right?
My blessing today is Northwind Kennels, who we got him from and also board him at when we go out of town, and they gifted us a used wheelchair that he now has, and he loves it.
You play it,
and yeah, we'll play it right now.
Okay, when that has no music behind it, it's because YouTube copyrights any song, and I did not know there was a song attached to that video. I thought we were going to hear cute dog sounds.
No, but he's very happy. He goes very fast in it. We can't go too far yet because he's getting used to it. But yeah. So thank you to Northwind. They accept donations, and they are a great place. They're like 30 miles out of the city.
We'll put their link in the comments if you want to donate.
Rescue Right. / Northwind Kennels. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Rescue Right is the adoption place connected to it.
And Natalie, do you have a blessing?
My blessing is that my black eye is almost healed.
Oh, yeah.
Did Nico apologize?
Eventually. I'm sorry, doctor. I got injured during the first preview of the show I'm doing right now. I got headbutted right in my brow bone during there was stage traffic in complete blackout, and everybody just had adrenaline first preview,
Oh.
and I just felt it swell up the rest of the
Like
show.
during the show.
Yeah, because it was for my entrance where I'm pretty much on stage the rest of the show after
Yeah.
that point for the next like 30 minutes. And so I was just like, well, I'm just going to feel it swell up. I woke up the next morning. I looked like Rocky, Das Musical, and it was hell. And we were still doing previews, so I had to cover it with 30 pounds of makeup.
Yeah.
I looked like a bad Trixie Mattel in person.
Yeah.
Like I was having to do full drag essentially.
Yeah.
But just one side.
in a small theater. Well,
Or did you balance
no, but
it?
then I would have to balance it, so
Sure.
it was just like full.
Oh,
it was
boy.
so nasty, and it would start like when I would sweat, it would start like sort of crackling, and I looked. It was Death Becomes Her, the end of Death Becomes Her
Yeah.
vibes. But it's finally healing. And my other blessing is Gianmarco. I'm glad that we've ended our feud, our long
But-
simmering feud.
But what is more broad than to have a feud?
Than to have
Yeah.
a feud. To just have. We'll
That'll
do
be-
bosom buddies.
that'll be
We're
Ryan
gonna
Murphy.
do bosom buddies.
Yes.
A
We're gonna be
future Ryan
frenemies.
Murphy season about feud is the two of you.
Gianmarco
And when you
versus
kind of
Natalie.
didn't talk for a year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. The lore is so deep and thrilling.
Where can people find you, Natalie? Tell them about the show you got going on.
Yes, I am in a
I
show.
want you to know I looked at every date. I'm not available for a single one.
You're a
but I want you to
working
know that
girl.
I fully looked at it. I did.
That's
I
sweet.
fully looked. I went through all of them, and then I hit that
That's
last
all
date.
that
I
I
go,
care.
God.
That's all that I care about, Gianmarco. I just care that you looked. Okay?
Yeah.
It's called The Last Bimbo of the Apocalypse. It is about that famous photo of Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and Lindsay Lohan in the car that the New York Post published it with the headline, The Three Bimbos of the Apocalypse. And it concerns like these three Gen Z TikTokers who become obsessed with the idea that there's a fourth girl in the photo that has gone missing.
And if it's Sondheim.
Yes. Sondheim.
Sondheim's
This is a
final
Sondheim
show.
revival. Yes. Yes. It's sort of a reconfiguring of Passion. And I am on Instagram at NWalks. I am not on any other social media. I'm too old for TikTok. And Twitter made me go insane. And so I
Yeah.
had to leave so that I could touch grass.
Yeah.
I went on Threads the other day, and I said, a lot of people I thought were done with the internet are here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's still too positive.
Yeah.
Twitter is, it's a little too white supremacy for my taste.
Yeah.
Personally,
No, I
no
still
offense to anyone who likes it.
I still go on it to check what funny people are saying, because the people that are left on Twitter are true posters. I left before Elon took over, so I wasn't like
Oh, it's been a rough
one of these
ride.
people that's like
Yeah,
democracy like is constantly like, if you're still on Twitter, democracy is dying because of you.
Yeah.
I just left because it was making me deeply
Sad.
nuts.
Yeah.
And being on my phone all the time and reading all of the worst comments about myself, and it's not a good place to be.
Not a good
but
place to
I
be.
love to go on now and see what the funny people are saying. The true posters that are left. Sarah
Yeah.
Hagee, my queen,
God, she's got a backbone of steel. My God,
truly.
Yeah.
truly. She writes. She's a writer.
Yes.
Yeah. Does she do podcasts?
Yeah, she has her own podcast
Does
on
she?
Wondery. You should absolutely, the next time she's in New York, have Sarah on, because she's
When someone's like
best.
strong online, I'm just like they're gonna chew me to pieces. That's where my head goes.
yes.
Yes.
No, but
But that's not always bad.
she would chew you to pieces in a fun way. She's like very sweet about it, but
As long
she
as
would
it's
just
fun.
like give you a bunch of shit.
I love
It
it.
would be lovely.
Okay, we'll reach out. Russell, where can people find you? So many things.
Right, when this is coming out, I'm assuming right now you can see me in The Imaginary Invalid at the Red Bull Theater, New World Stages until June 29th. And then you can find me in Ginger Twinsies off Broadway at the Orpheum starting July 10th. July 10th.
Great.
Yeast infection to come.
Yeast infection to come, hopefully.
I'm gonna
And at Russell J. Daniels on Instagram. Sorry. Cool.
I'm going to be in Europe for most of June. A lot of stuff is sold out, but I'm pretty sure there'll be tickets still for Milan, for somewhere in the UK that I don't know, so it's my fault. But there's some tickets. Maybe Berlin, maybe Barcelona. Check it out. Check out the link, and then we're going to add another show in London, hopefully by the time this comes out, at a big church in July. I come back after the whole Europe tour. We do one final date.
On any Sunday morning, there will be raising our voices in harmony. That's from Footloose the Musical.
Wow.
This is
That
The
really took me
Downside.
back.
Downside.
That was a Headgum podcast.